Take one.
Hi, Ms. Todd. Thank you so much for being here with us. So, as we all know, we are going to be celebrating Dr. Suess Day next week. So, why do we celebrate Dr. Suess Day?
Well, March 2nd is celebrated all across our country as Dr. Seuss Day because it's actually his birthday. And we also call it Read Across America Day. The National Education Association has declared that a whole week for schools across the nation to read and celebrate literature. And Dr. Seuss, who is one of our greatest influences on children's literature and literacy.
Wow, that's great. So, which Dr. Seuss book meant the most to you and why?
I had so many growing up. I was a big fan of Dr. Seuss, but I've got a few of mine here. First of all, The Cat in the Hat, which is probably his most famous book. And there's a really interesting story behind this. In 1954, Life magazine came out with an article which stated that children aren't learning to read because their books are too boring. So someone gave Dr. Seuss a challenge and said, could you write a book that children will love and be interested in, and that has all 356 words that first graders need to know? So Dr. Seuss took on this challenge and he came up with this book, The Cat in the Hat. And it actually has about 256 of the words. So it has most of the words first graders need to know. And it was so popular, kids loved it. It helped them learn to read, and they just loved the story, and that's kind of where it all took off.
So, what was your first memory of Dr. Seuss?
Probably Green Eggs and Ham. Reading Green Eggs and Ham, after that got stuck in my head, I just couldn't get it out of my head. I loved the rhyme of it, and it helped me learn. And then I moved on to other books, my favorites, like Marvin K. Mooney, Will You Please Go Home Now? That's just a funny story. It used to make me giggle. There's a Walk It in My Pocket. This is my favorite book to read to kids because it's just hilarious. It has crazy words in it and just crazy situations, and I love to hear the children giggle when I read it.
That's great.
And then he also wrote books that had, a little bit more depth to them, like The Lorax, which is a book all about saving our environment. And that's another thing I love about Dr. Seuss is his different just universal ideas that he would put in his books that would make us think, even as kids, about our world.
So, which Dr. Seuss quote related to you?
Oh, that's a hard one. The quote. There's so many of his quotes, and now I can't think of any of them. But what's that one about where the places you go, wherever you go?
I know that quote.
The places you'll go, and then how much you learn.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. There's just so many quotes of his that you could just put up everywhere that just kind of make you think.
Do you think that they relate to like all kinds of situations and finding you and who you are?
Sure, yeah. I think that it's kind of like little snippets of advice that we can all take and we think about it, and then, it's kind of inspirational, but thought-provoking at the same time.
So why do you think Dr. Seuss was important in the history of authors?
Because of what he did for children's literature. I mean, we have so much wonderful children's literature, stories and all kinds of things, but literacy is really important for young children, and how they learn is important. And these books, there's so many of them. He wrote over 60 books, and then his foundation put out even more books to promote children's literacy, help them to read. And even when you get older and you know all these words, you still enjoy reading the books, and you like reading them to your brothers and sisters. And so I think that contribution was just huge. I don't know if there's any other author that's really quite done anything like that.
All right. So did Dr. Seuss ever inspire you to become a librarian?
He might have, because just my love for books as a child, I always loved reading. That was my major thing, reading and music. So when I got older, I became a teacher, and then, I really wanted to be a librarian for a long time. And so finally I said, I'm just going to go to school to do that. And most people don't know that you need a master's degree to be a librarian. So I went to school to do that, and I just love it because you learn about all the different books. You get to introduce them to kids and get them excited about reading, especially now in the days of all the devices where kids want to be gaming all the time when they should be reading. And I like to help them find books that will get them excited and put stories in their minds and help them to think.
Thank you so much
yes,
for
he
your
was
time.
definitely an inspiration. Sure.
Yes, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for
We're
doing
excited
this
for
with
Dr.
us.
Seuss. Stay next
Yes,
week.
and we have a lot of fun stuff. Scavenger hunts, prizes, decorate your door or your bulletin board. You can win a $40 gift certificate at the book fair. There's all kinds of prizes. We're gonna have lots of fun. Dress up on Monday. Prizes for that too.
Thank you.
Thank you.